it says live recording.
Mhm.
So are we live?
All right, Instagram fired. We are live on YouTube. Let's see. And Facebook is starting.
So does that mean we're ready?
Let's see here. All right, we are live and official.
All righty.
All
So,
right, so welcome everyone to the live stream. We are testing out some new software today, so we figured we'll jump on in and talk about some things with Sent Ones International Ministries, introduce us, and tell you what we have going on and what we are up to, and all the updates and all the great things.
I'm
So
pretty
for
excited.
yeah, so if you want, we'll take a second for people to jump on here and introduce ourselves. So go ahead and like, follow, and share the stream. We are on Instagram and YouTube as well.
This is our first attempt at this platform, so we're pretty
Mhm.
excited to try this out today. Uh, we often, for those who don't know, like Lee said, this is Sent Ones International Ministries. I'm Stephen Tull, executive director, and we're here today to, like I say, we're testing out this platform, but also, a lot of times lately we've been doing a newsletter, trying to get more information out, posting some things, but sometimes there's a lot of things that are happening at once, and we thought this is a great way to kind of introduce you to some of the new things, and also uh, just share some of the things that are going on, and see how it works on this platform. It's new to us, but we've been trying to find different ways to communicate. We have people ask questions a lot of times, or uh, want to know the updates, and so sometimes waiting a whole month each time to get them out. We never seem to get all the information shared all at once is a lot sometimes. So, so today, Lee and I are just kind of going to share the different things that are going on. We've got a lot of new things happening. For those of you who don't know, the Sent Ones International Ministries, you know, uh, our our mission statement is for Sent Ones is to we empower the global church, equipping disciples, transforming communities around the world. And so we're excited to be here today, and Lee and I, and to just share uh, everything that's going to be happening, or a lot of things that are happening over the next month and up through the holidays. So,
Yeah, and for people who don't know about us, we this past year we turned 9. So see if you want to share a little bit how the ministry got started. Just a brief, catch everyone up to date.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it has been 9 years ago in May. Uh, I had a vision for. I knew that I had the vision for Sent Ones, that that there was something that always captured my heart about the fact of being sent. That I always loved that. I loved that's basically the, the apostolic church. It's ascending, not a gathering, but ascending. And, so, we're to equip, train, send, and release. And so I had the vision for sent ones. And the only thing that I had at the time is I knew I was supposed to go to Rwanda. And I knew that I was supposed to put on some type of a training or a conference for youth that gave them a platform and an opportunity to and to let them know that God had a purpose and a place for them. And the parameters were small, or the way that God spoke to me when I went to Rwanda in the Genocide Museum is that, He wanted me to call it a youth invasion crusade, which at the time I thought was I told him I thought the word invasion was not a good word to use, because I was in a genocide museum learning about all that had happened. And he clearly, in my spirit, he just said to me, Steve, that Rwanda won't be known for its genocide. It'll be known for the greatest revival the world has ever seen. And he said, because out of the heart of Africa, revival will burn from Cape Town to Cairo. And as a revivalist, I knew the stories of Cape Town to Cairo and all of that, but I didn't know at the time that Rwanda was the heart of Africa. And so, that's the one thing that we knew. So when I shared the vision with the pastors and the leaders in Rwanda to put on this meeting, that's the one thing we did, the youth invasion crusade. And God said, because I'm going to invade their hearts. And when I invade someone's heart, there's no escape. So he told us to put on an event or this conference, but he wanted no one famous, no famous worship leaders, no famous speakers, nothing like that, because he wanted to draw us to him, but that the revival would be genuine and authentic, that he was calling them. And so that's what we did. And to share that vision with the youth, for some reason they knew that it was bigger than me. And so, with the pastors and leaders, we did launch the we call it Youth Invasion Crusades, but it quickly became, they just called it the YIC. And that's how we started the ministry. The first year we had 25 people from 5 different nations came. And each year now we put on the Youth Invasion Crusade. But as time has gone, in 9 years' time, the YIC is just a program, or it's actually an event that we put on that operates underneath our discipleship program, because the most important thing we do is discipleship. But at the time, that was the one thing that we knew we were to do. We were obedient to that. And in that moment, to that yes to God, in that moment, we started a movement. And Sent Ones was, it's kind of, that's where it was birthed, that what we did in Rwanda. But we launched the ministry in 2015, and we were just always going until I think 2019, when COVID hit. That we ended up having to spend that year and a half, or I think it was a little over a year, at home before Lee and I could go back to Rwanda in September, I guess, of 2021. Mm-hmm. But the ministry has been, out of that 9 years, we have, we've launched several, we have discipleship programs. We have, what are the different pillars, Lee, that we have over the ministry now? It's not just, we don't just do the YIC. That's just one event, but that we have the 4 different pillars of the ministry. I believe that's education and finance, discipleship and training, is it children and education, and
family and children.
Yeah. And so we touch every part of the community and every part of the, the nation. We do in different things. And over the last few years, as many of you that are following, we've been, working on, purchased land in Rwanda to build a vocational training center. We want to build, we've been working on that for quite some time. So now we're in the, we're working on the phase for that. I think that's part of today. We'll talk a little bit about, share the updates on the Bugesera land project and what we're doing out there. This is the time of year. We'll also share a little bit about our, we're working with, trying to grow our prayer partners. That's such an important thing.
Mhm.
Uh, we're really trying to do that. So we're excited today to have you with us. Hopefully we're able to encourage you and those that a lot of people, if you have questions about the ministry or questions about what we do or how we do what we do, this is a great day for it. Like I said, it's a new format for us, so we haven't done this before. So we're looking forward to just seeing how this unfolds and how we can share about the ministry. So
Yeah, and so before we jump into it, let's I want to go over what we're dealing with in Rwanda right now and the crisis that's going on there with the church closures.
I think that's good.
For those, yeah, because that's definitely something that's impacted us in how we had to shift and adapt of what we were doing. It didn't necessarily change what we do, but it's just how we approach in our ministry and who we have on the ground and what they're doing. So um, due to some of the government regulations over the past, again, it started about 5 years ago. They started to shut down churches and just introduce some new regulations that were not there before, such like as some building codes and sanitation. So it's not necessarily terrible things, but if they didn't have that in place, then there is some need for that to be put in place. And if you couldn't do that, then unfortunately the church would be shut down until they could get it back up to code and the regulations. So it's not necessary. It wasn't a thing where the government came in and like, okay, churches have to shut down. There's reasons behind it, which some seem practical, right? But persecution is persecution, no matter how it comes and what form it comes in. So unfortunately, the greatest impact of these are especially in the rural areas in Rwanda, where they don't have the funds to bring up their churches to code. And so, unfortunately, there's going to be some churches that probably will never open again due to the fact that it should, because of all these regulations that's piled on them. Um, it just makes it almost impossible. But we know that our God is, in the impossible, making things possible business. So there is a way. And so right now we're especially focusing on leaders and pastors and to encourage them because sometimes this comes, at the fact that this was a sudden thing or also they don't have a way to prepare for this or a way forward. So we're stepping in to encourage them and helping ways to find them to minister to their congregation. And even so one of the things is to help establish discipleship programs and training them up to disciple their congregation, even though they probably won't be able to meet as a congregation in their church. And then also just doing ongoing training for them. Stevie, if you want to add anything to that, or
yeah, that was one of the things we were already working. We had been doing, whenever we're in Rwanda, we've been working with pastors and leaders, and we actually helped for the last 3 years, I guess, help them to establish an apostolic network that work with the pastors and leaders and share different ways to encourage and build up training. And we've been doing those workshops and trainings for quite some time. And we were already in the process because before the church closure, this last trip in July, we were able to do a couple of conferences where we were training pastors and leaders, and we had actually had established that we were going to do a couple of workshops to teach them how that we do discipleship, because most of them we found they do Bible studies, which usually have to do with in the church, or they do some prayer training, but they didn't have any discipleship programs for to say in place. So we've been working with those and that we've had them translated into Kinyarwanda, and we've been doing it for several years in Rwanda. So we were getting ready to roll those out when a lot of the churches closed. Which this really the hardest part for us is that it, like, like Lee was saying, it's not so much that the building closed, and some of them, like I say, it won't open. So if you're in a small community, it's one thing to know that obviously the building. So when we say the church is closed, really buildings closed. You can't close the church.
Yeah.
But when you don't have a place to meet, we could say it kind of takes them back to the days of the Antioch church, or Jerusalem, where that's how they're used to do it. But the idea here is they don't want home churches, and they don't want that. So what they can do is they've done cells, and they've done cell groups or home groups sometimes. So the idea is that we can teach them, with the discipleship groups, they'll get more of the being able to train them, so that everything that's done is life application. But they're just not used to not meeting at the church or not doing that. So by us creating these manuals, I know Lee and I we even spoke even last week with a couple of the pastors and leaders from there in Rwanda that we work with, and they were already saying they're still, they have a lot of people. I think they said, and one in the Eastern Province, they have over 50 pastors that are waiting to be trained with our discipleship manuals, and we have another group of close to the same, even in the Kigali area where some of our teams are, and they're just waiting for the manuals. So that's one of the things we can do, because if we can do the training, then the idea is we'll do the training. We have the pastors and leaders from the network. They'll do the training, and even some of our discipleship group will help with that. Then they can launch their groups, and with that, we'll give them the resources that they need. That's really our the reason that we're trying to raise those funds for that, and then there's I think there's a little money in there to help them, like for instance for the transport to get to the training, that kind of thing. It's a few of those, but those are the ways that we're trying to get that going, because we can roll that out. Then it's the pastors and leaders encouraging them, because a lot of times you don't know what to do if your building's closed. It's still, that's what you're used to doing. You have no church meetings, no worship practice, no prayer meetings, any of the things you're used to, that's changed. And for some of them, I think, I think the discipleship will be great for them, because it'll almost be like the pastors going door to door or working with their groups, but also them discipling and coming together. And then we're believing that in that God will also orchestrate a way that, because maybe they can come together, and, in a village, you could have 2 or 3 small churches, but the building is small and everything, that it would never meet code. But maybe one of those buildings would, or they can come up with some strategies. But we're just really believing, as the biggest thing is there's just so many of them that they're discouraged, and they really don't know how to move forward. And that's what we're going to work with the pastors and leaders to encourage them as well. Some are working to open the church, raising money for that. That's one thing. But the strategy that we have in working with the pastors and leaders and the network, and what we talked to, that was not their number one priority. Their number one priority was to launch something with discipleship, and that, so that they're prepared, whether the building opens or doesn't open, they can continue to touch their communities and their flocks. Amen. So what were we looking at, Lee? Where I think we're asking, like right now, we just want to raise the funds for 100. I think we're trying to print 100 of the manuals, because from there, each person that takes the training, they're going to try to raise that money. Charge them 3,000 or whatever francs. It's not very much, but it's enough that we pay for the first batch, and then they believe that going forward, they'll be able to sustain that. And so it's not like we'll constantly be coming back for more. So they're trying to work out ways to, do that. But the first thing is to get the 100 printed. We're hoping we can do that before the end of the month, God willing. So
yeah, and so it was we were seeking $500 for the manuals, and also Bibles along with that, to help start that process.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've never we have that, but it was always one of the things that we were going to launch was, getting Bibles, because it's not something like, when we do that in ministry in the US and all, it's a simple procedure. When we go there, we can bring a few Bibles, and we've done that. But the difference is this is a Kinyarwanda Bible, so it needs to be done there. And so that's why, they cost us about, I think it's like $8, something like that, a Bible, something
Yeah, I think
around
it's
there in the US.
about $7 to $8.
Yeah, and that's a good Bible, a good Kinyarwanda Bible. We had our team look into if they could get Bibles for one. What would you like to do? And that would be it. And but we found in the last year, we realized that a lot of times there might only be one Bible in the home, one Bible, and was a little different for us. We don't really think of that because, I mean, I probably got, I don't know how many on the shelf behind me, and then I've had those over the years. People give them to us, but I mean, most of the time, everybody in the family has their own Bible. But this is something that, another thing that we want to be able to make sure that they have not only the resources but the word, and to really be able to the things that we're teaching, especially if you're doing discipling someone, you want to make sure they have a Bible, and all. It's a powerful thing to be able to give that to someone. So
Let's see. And so, moving on, one of the projects that we have ongoing right now is, and we just got an update. What was it last night? Was about the Kingdom Community Harvest in Bugesera, and the harvest that we are growing there. So for that program, what we do is we do several different things, but that's our agricultural program. And so what we help empower families, and we come alongside them, and kind of like more like a co-op program where we help facilitate um, the growing of the crop, for providing in this case in Bugesera, we had the land to cultivate crops on, and then we have the community works it, and so it provides them a source of income and also food once the um, harvest comes in. And so right now we're growing corn, eggplant, and peanuts. Is that right?
yes, yeah, they sent me pictures. I think it was this morning that they came in because they went out. But they were very excited because the crops. It's been raining well because we've been praying and all, and so sometimes they feel like we do it. It's a blessing that we can do that, but sometimes they feel like you know that we're failing because if you didn't reap any money back, you didn't get your money back that we sowed into it. But to us, the blessing was families were fed. The people that are harvesting the fields and working the fields are, we make sure they're paid for doing their work. uh they're doing, they do all that work, and then when the harvest comes in, all of even our discipleship teams and everything, we go there and they'll harvest everything, and then they take it to different markets and try to sell it and everything. And so we don't always make a profit, but we're not, as I explained, we're not failing because people are eating, and we're sowing into something that's far greater. And this year, they've had some hard times with the rain. It's been tougher the last couple of years, but we're seeing the harvest is doing well. We're continuing to pray and believing for good. They did. We had professional. We had. I think this time they used a machine to cultivate our land because the community wanted to show the village that they could do it this way, and it was cheaper than having someone do it, and they did it in a day or two. They used a big harvesting machine, and they cultivated the land and turned it over, and it was very nice. So now they're saying, I think that's the one they're trying to raise. I think it's just 200 or a little bit more, somewhere in there, to because the next thing is they'll do the what do they call it, fertilization, not fumigating, fertilizing. They want to fertilize everything, and then they'll also have the money to, that money includes in there having the money to harvest, and so that's one of the things. And then on the land, you know where they work down at the bottom of the property,
Mm-hmm.
which people will see some of the pictures when you show it. Down the property up 50 meters from the water, that's an area where we're supposed to clean that up. And I think they even gave us some trees, and then we're trying to raise a little money to do some more, like some avocado plants and a couple of other things, because that area, we have to clean that up now that there's the water from the water there, because we won't build on it, but they don't want them planting on it. So that's the other thing, that the next thing is there's a budget for that, but they've already given us, I think the government or the community gave us 3 or 4 trees, but they want to put some more down at the bottom and then cover that land. So then people could also come. Eventually, that would be an area where people could gather, and it is there. So we're excited about that as well. But like the pictures and everything we saw was a definitely, and the whole community is seeing that the blessing of that. So that land we're talking about, they use for harvesting on, is also the land we're going to be building on. So we separated out this time because there's 2 buildings we're trying to build: the vocational school and the workshops and was it Plaza? Is that the shops?
The workshop plaza.
Yeah, we're trying to. So we've cleared those areas, and then the next thing we're trying to do is get those laid out and mark the foundation, so we can pour the foundation. So when we can put
so that actually goes right into glad you mentioned that, because that's the next thing we're going to talk about, is the Bugesera Project. And so what Steve mentioned was the very first phase of it is that vocational school and the workshop plaza. And so right now we're actually going to have Kelly, who is our Rwanda coordinator in Rwanda, to tell us more about that.
Hello, my name is Kelly Ngamije. I'm here as the Rwandan coordinator for St. Juan's International Ministry. We are here in Bugesera, as you all can see, and we are ready to start our phase 1 of the project, whereby we hope to build vocational training centers. We want to change the life of the people who lives here. Some of the challenges that people are facing right now is the youth that are unable to finish their education. We have also parents that are unable to cater for their families. And we are here to be part of the solutions. One of the solutions we hope to answer is the kids who are not able to finish their school. With these vocational training centers, we believe that the students will be able to have the hands-on skills that will allow them to be their own bosses, their own entrepreneurs. And we want you to be a partaker. Not only that, as we change the life of one student, as we change the life of one youth, we'll be able to change the life of one lady. One of the challenges they're also facing is for them to have the pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, and having the kids at the young age as 15 years old, that's 14 years old. That's really bad for us. And we know the solution is here. By providing a vocation training center for the youth that involves everybody, either women, either men, we believe that will be also a solution. Not only that, we are here also to create jobs. We are not the one to build this vocation training. The people around, the skilled people that are around here, not only are going to help us train those students, but also are going to help us build all those vocation training centers and every other phases that we have here. Would you be a partaker? If so, our phase 1 will be around $150,000 US. You can donate by the link below, or else you can come with ideas and participate and be able to raise funds. And we know as you bless us, God will bless you more. Thank you so much. This is Kelly from Rwanda.
Yeah, that was a fun day putting up. It was a fun day putting up the sign, and then I remember when we were shooting the video, we all did different videos. it was really quite something, because the pastors and a lot of the, whenever we show up, the thing was amazing is, what the people couldn't see, they could probably hear some of the stuff because there's kids and people in the background, because we came and they were all trying to see what are they doing there. They're putting up a sign. But the other thing it does is, one, for us, I got excited because it's like, we've been talking about putting a sign up for years, but until you own it, you can't put a sign up. And until you have a permit, you can't put a sign up. So now that we have all the permits, everything to build, everything to do, and they've been hearing about it, but they're excited as well. So when the sign went up, everybody was, the sign says coming soon, and it's a vocational school, and, the things that they've been hearing about, but they were excited. And especially even, I don't know, how many did we have? 3 or 4? I think it was 3 or 4. They were probably youth and everything that were there, that were building the framework to put the sign on. And so it was a project for that day. While we were there, we were also going out, checking out the property, things, trying to get an idea where the layout, where the foundations were. All of that is so exciting, because it's one thing to it says write the vision down that a herald can run with it. And so, here we are. And, when we walked away that day or drove away that day, to me, it was like the fulfillment of a promise. It's one thing when you see something. I mean, I walked on that property in 2016, I guess, for the first time. And when I saw it, the vision that we have, all the stuff that you're seeing, is what I saw and what God was doing over the years. And we've launched different things, and but prophetically, you can never put a time on something. It looks like it's right there, but I could see it. I could see what God was doing, but it took so long. And then what people don't understand, the miracle of that property is it's agricultural land. So by the time we bought it and all, and when we went to show them the drawings and everything, they're like, well, you're only allowed to, it's agriculture. You can put a small house on there. You can do that, but you can't build a school. You can't do all those things. It's not zoned for that. So, when we had the attorneys to go and build, so we did all the drawings and everything that we were wanting to do. They had to do an EPA study. They had to do all of these things. And it took almost a year just in doing all of that, and a lot of money to do that. But when they came back, they had a permit to build the vocational school, the shops, everything that we want to do. That at some point, a boutique hotel, the cafe, everything that God has shown us to do is approved, and the EPA, it matches the plan for Rwanda. But the miracle of it was to change our zoning. They had to change it on the master plan. And so to make our land to build on the master plan, they basically changed the master plan of the whole community. And one of our partners and part of our pastoral team, we have a pastoral is Pastor Chuck and Patty Sweet. But Patty, when she heard that, she said that's because it was always part of the master's plan to change the master plan. So that is something quite amazing. That now we only have to leave a small part for agriculture, which is always part of it, because for the restaurant and for the school and for any of that, we wanted them to be able to still have areas where they can harvest vegetables, harvest things to help sustain that there. But it was just just an incredible thing to see this come to life. And so that's something that like Lee was saying, it's part of that project. And like you say, 150,000 sometimes it sounds like a lot, but if you look at the plans, that's actually building the vocational school and the shops. And because if you're doing a vocational school where you're teaching them welding and sewing and that, you can't have welding machines in the classroom. So there's a separate workshops and things for that. There's so all of that is included in that. So that's 2 buildings, and they're 2 stories high. So we're getting a lot of building and a lot of to be able to do a lot of things with those two buildings. That's why we started with those two. And what we're trying to do now is less than, I think we need just under 10,000 just to get the foundations built. Because if we can get those built, then we can start that's kind of the very beginning of phase one, is to, I think we just need that, we started out by, I think the next thing they want to do is lay out the foundations, mark the ground, and they do that with GPS and set all the markers. And that's the first thing we're trying to do now. And then do the foundations. And we've been praying it's one of the things we're trying to do by end of year, but we're excited about the launch of that. And as Kelly mentioned, everything that we do, just like, once you sit there, is when they go to build the foundations, that's jobs. We immediately start jobs for those people, like say, even though it wasn't a lot for that day, we paid the guys to put the signage up and all that. So each phase, you're creating jobs, but you're teaching them skills. So, that's why we want to do building trades, and we're doing, tailoring and, welding and all that, because all the buildings, everything you do is the brickwork and the from the masonry, all of that is all part of, creating jobs and doing something for the community. So we have a lot of, support from them as well.
Mm-hmm. And eventually we're, one of the trades is hospitality. And that's why, one of the last phases is to build that small hotel, what they call a boutique hotel there. And that will help run that program as well.
Right. Because in it also, besides being a hotel, it has, I think, because again, remember, it's 2 stories or 3 stories. I think it's 3 stories because the first level is, keeps it above the, gives the view of the lake and all of that. And for those of you who don't know, it's right across from the new airport that will be opened. And so the bottom level also has 2 or 3 apartments, which will be rented out. Yeah, the idea is that those are rented out long term. So that's revenue that it generates. It'll have a cafe in it that it'll be there, inside the hotel, that cafe or the restaurant. That'll be, that's always something my sister was very passionate about. So that's supposed to be like, Auntie Debbie's place or something like that. But we're very excited because it's hospitality, it brings in revenue. But when we're building in Rwanda, we use our CBC for that, a community-based corporation or company. And the thing is that we generate revenue and it pays and it makes money, but all of the money goes back into the community. So that way, all the jobs that you're creating and all of that money stays in the community. It stays there. And so even helping them, hopefully we'll be able to help them, once they do that, start businesses. Some of them, they go to teach hospitality or they learn hospitality, and then they go to work in these hotels or go to work in the hotel or others, or the same thing in the village. They come to the training, but then hopefully they can go start their own, businesses or go work for somebody that has a business, but you're giving them a skill, and then they can provide for their families. And that, it gives them a hope. And so that's something that, we know that this is, that we said, this is our model. We hope to do this. There's a first one in Bugesera, the Kingdom Community Harvest Project. We kind of launched that with ours using our property, but we've done something very similar in the Southern province where they had their own property, remember? And we just partnered with them. We helped raise the funds and then did the same thing. But they, we can go into a community. Sometimes they don't have, they have land. They just don't have the means to prepare it or whatever. And we partner in that way.
So like C said, to do the foundations for the 2 buildings, we're just around $10,000. And so that's one of our goals, is to get that done by next summer. But even, we would love to see it by the end of this winter too.
And rolling in before spring would be awesome. Yeah.
And so if you do want to give, There's a link in the chat um, to give if you felt led. Um, and so one of the next projects actually we're doing next month is our adoptive family and our children's Christmas celebration. And so this came out of us, wanting to show that love looks like something. And, because I think without doing acts of kindness and acts of love, you really can't touch on God's love without doing it. And so, and showing that evidence and meeting the physical need, and it opens up, people um, to get saved, but also hearing the gospel for even the first time. Um, if you want to tell the story of um, Yvonne, and because her family was the first adoptive family that we did in Rwanda.
Yeah, she was kind of the vision behind it. Because one of the things, like like he's saying, is Jesus met people at their point of need and they followed him. And so sometimes we say love looks like something because you need to do something tangible. Where were you when I was sick? Where were you when I was hungry? Where were you? And so we've done that. But my very first trip to Rwanda, we were given actually my sister Deb and I, and then one of the pastors from South Africa, Wyatt, all we were kind of scouting, trying to find a place to do the first YIC. And so we went to stay at this, it was a kind of like a hotel apartment. And the reason you've never seen anything, because we would never stay there ever. Like I told people that, I said, I slept on the floor for the first hour, because then when you got on the bed, it felt comfortable, because it was not a comfortable place. It wasn't, but in that place, one of the girls that was helping us, she would, I guess, she was one that actually understood us. So in the breakfasts and things like that when she was coming. But the day before we were leaving, she came to my room, because she kept saying when I would see her in the lobby or I would see her somewhere, she said, Pastor, I was wanting to talk to you. I'm like, oh, okay. So, but she never seemed to find that time or whatever. So she came to me and knocked on my door, and she said, Pastor, I need you to help my family. And I was like, okay, how is it you want me to help your family? I'm leaving tomorrow. So she said, well, I just need you to help them. And so she had a envelope with her, and in the envelope she had the information about her family. She said they're struggling. They live, we live in a mud hut. She shared a little bit. And I said, I really don't know what I can do. This is my, it's my second time here, but I mean, I really don't know. But I said, what I promise I will do is I will give this to one of my team, and I will have them check into it and see if there is something we can do. Because a lot of times we're used to the fact, and especially our first time, they were making sure, they would say, please don't, don't just hand people money. Don't do certain things, because, you're not they think you're a missionary. They think you're from America. You're what did they say? You're an ATM or whatever. But I didn't know. So I just said, I just really felt in my heart she was genuine. So I said, I promise you this, somebody will look at this, but I leave tomorrow, so I really can't do it, but I will have someone follow up. And so then I asked Kelly if she would do that. I said, would you please check this out, find out what's the problem is, what there it is. Is there something we can do? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know anything. So she ended up, over the next couple of months, she ended up going to their house. I think they took motorbikes, a couple of them, went, interviewed, met the family. They all lived in a little tiny mud hut in Masaka, I think it was. And it was really quite something. Her dad was very sick. He had some stomach issues and some problems, the mom. But so they did the research, they did that. And when we came in July, I had just put on the list, if it's possible, we were doing something with the team. We were on a bus. So I had asked if we could stop by there. We would just go there and pray for the family and do all of that. And So when we got there, I just asked the people that were there, I said, look, I'm just wanting you guys to come here. We're going to pray for this family. I'm not asking you for any money. I'm not asking you for anything. I just want you to meet them, only because I had told the girl, that when I met her, and they have some needs. So I just want to pray for their family and see if we can do that. So when we came over the years, I mean, sometimes every once in a while I'll see the video or something. But when we got off the bus and we came out, when she saw me, she came out in the video. So she's just hugging me, but she's crying. But she keeps saying, Papa, you kept your promise. You came back. You came back. I didn't have anything, like I said, we didn't do that. But to her, it was the fact that I came back. I kept my promise. Mm-hmm. So we went and we prayed, and people went through the house, and, they toured them through, which, we took some pictures and stuff, which I did not enjoy that too much, because again, it was very, they were struggling very much. They were like refugees in their own country. And so it was a mud hut. It wasn't even theirs. They couldn't fix it up, because if you fix it up, then the person that owned it would want it back or whatever. And so, but we did pray for her father. And while we were praying for her father, praying for his stomach, he had cataracts on his eyes, and he said he began to see. So then we prayed for his eyes, and he actually, the cataract came off, and he was actually able to see. And it was just a testimony for everyone that, when the gospel is preached, signs and wonders follow. So he was healed. And so as time went on, that Christmas, we did the first adoptive family, with her family being one. But that particular day, I had asked Kelly if there was anything that we could do. And she had looked into 3 or 4 things, or a few things, of different ways that the family could maybe do something that would help them generate some revenue. And there was some kind of a machine or something that they could buy. It would basically take cassava leaves. They make the sauce that they all love, that, it's that green sauce made out of cassava. But so I told her, whatever it is that you do, you just pick something and then you do that. So there was nothing. I didn't tell the group. I didn't tell any of them. We just gave them that money to buy that thing, so that they could generate some revenue and help for the family. But over the years, so that first year we did the adoptive family, we picked, I think, 10 families or something. And then over the years, sometimes we've done more, sometimes we've done less, but we always do her family. And but over the years, we have a video testimony somewhere on YouTube with all of it. But in that time, she came for my birthday the last couple of years, and she shared a testimony. But her whole family was saved through that. Mm-hmm. Every single family member is saved, and they always send us pictures of when somebody's married, they had a baby, whatever, all that. But they call it, sent ones their family, because of the love that was shown. Because see, we can give without loving, but you can't love without giving. And it was the way that we poured into them, and so it was really quite something to hear the testimony and to see what God eventually moved them out of that mud hut. Because if some of you would remember, we were praying for that, out of that mud hut into a home that has, real floors, real beds, real everything. And, so it's really, really a blessing to see what God has done. And then now every year when we do the adoptive family and the children's family Christmas, we always go to the community, and we go to the village, and we talk to the elders and the pastors and all that, because we want to find out who is in need the most, and how can we help them the best way that we can, so that we don't just pick our own list. But then we also check, so we're not just, okay, that's just the pastor's family, or that's just this. We actually meet the needs of the community. And then sometimes we've gone into the community. What I love is we'll go in and they adopt the adoptive family mentality themselves. We give them, say, like, we might buy them rice and, all that and staples for, say, maybe like 2 months or 3 months. And then they take that and divide it up amongst the group themselves, and then give it to some of their neighbors as well. So it's something that we do. And the thing that I love about it is that the whole team, it's one of their favorite things to do, because they do it on usually the day before, or even sometimes we've been as late as been out there till on Christmas Day. They'll go out Christmas Eve because sometimes they have to go back they'll take a bus or they'll take some kind of transport to get close, but then sometimes they have to go in by bicycle or by motorbike, or they have to walk in with all of the goods. But they always spend time with the family, pray with the family, share the gospel with the family. And, so it is a great way that we've done to bring the tangible love of God and show them the love of God. And especially at Christmas time, we love sharing hope and giving them, and blessing them at Christmas time.
Yeah, and so for the children's Christmas celebration, we really we've done several different things in the past where we went to different schools to help support and give school supplies and uniforms, and also just have fun with them. Because children are kids, and they, to experience one day of fun, doing games, that kind of thing. um, and it really just spend some time in the community. um, and so this year I think we're doing some school supplies again um, for our children's Christmas celebration.
Yeah, and they often do they'll often find out we have certain families that need insurance. That's pretty much
Mhm.
a thing they'll let us know. As Kelly said in the video about unwed mothers, sometimes we have a group that we
Mhm.
often have sent, doing health insurance and stuff for them. And I said, the community always lets us know, even for the school supplies, which ones they need, who they are. And so it really just depends on, saying, when we do the families, I think the children's family Christmas, that's when I think it's like $30 a child or something in the family, as I think is
Mhm.
like 100. And then we're able to, I mean, obviously the cost of living's definitely gone up even in Rwanda, uh, but we're able to take those funds, and we distribute it to the families, and they go and buy all of the things that are needed and then take them to them, which is, such a blessing. And like I say, spending time sharing the word with them. So it's very much it's a help, especially the sooner we can get. We always pray that we can. The more we collect, the more people we can help. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Uh, but it is one of our favorite things to do this time of year.
So the next thing on our agenda to talk about is some upcoming updates and resources that we're going to launch out. And we've kind of been working on this next resources secretly, but we're going to put out our very first ebook. And so I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but it kind of stemmed from me. Okay.
Right.
Um, and so, but like it just hit me one day that over the past 9 years, when doing the YIC, um, we always have a theme. And so usually in since years gone by, we've learned that every year we have this theme for this conference, and we have to live it out ourselves and as leaders. And so we always get the theme around the beginning of the year. um, and so then we prepare for the next about 6 months um, for it, and then but we also are challenged with to actually live it out, the theme. And so we've done it for 9 years now, and we like it just hit me that it's really prepared us to be sent ones, to be actual sent ones, not just be a part of the ministry sent ones, but to actually live out what is called to be a sent one. And like Jesus said, the Father has sent me, so I'm sending you. And so our mission here on earth is to be that sent one and complete his mission, um, to preach the gospel and, across the world. And so it kind of just dawned on me, that this book is going to be coming out very soon. And it's going to be called Becoming a Sent One. And so it's really just a guide for you, a practical guide that you can walk through and to be a sent one. So it's really been good to reflect on the years past and the themes, and to put it all together. And so so look forward for that. You'll be able to get it here shortly within the next month. So do you want to add to that, or?
Yeah, that, when Lee first brought it up, because it's true that, because whenever I come up with a theme, and then I, over the years, when I, like, there's some of the themes that we would get, and then I would have, when we're looking for someone to, to minister during the YIC or train or whatever. Sometimes I've had some where they're like, oh, I've had them where they're like, I'm really excited about this year's theme. But everybody, I've, some of our spiritual sons and daughters are part of the team, would often say, I love when Dad gets a theme, because they know that, like I said, this isn't like when you church, you're doing a 4 theme, you're doing four, you're on the theme and this is it. Every theme that we've ever done is a setup as a character walking you into the relationship with God. And we were learning, because we always say, as we go. That was part of the statement, in the going, it's always in the going. And and even this last year's theme was as we go, because for 9 years we've been saying it. And this was a year that it was about releasing that more of the go. But even that, I think we calling it, when Lee said, the Becoming a Sent One, and he said it based it on the themes of, he said, I think we need to base it. If you look at each theme of the YIC, then there was a teaching, there was a training, there was an equipping, and there was a work, it was, you're discipling them, or we're discipling ourselves. As you teach yourselves. And each one of us, I remember Lee and I would be sitting here, we'd be talking about a theme, we'd be doing something. Sometimes we'd be doing something with the committee, or all of a sudden, then he would get a download, or he would get something. Then he'd realize, okay, I know what I'm teaching on. I know what God's saying. And in this, I think that's what we even called that when we were talking about this ebook, where you'd like, when we were talking about it needed a subtitle. And then the more we talked about it, it was like, it's like the subtitle, I think it is, empowering you for the go, because everybody's required to go. Not everybody goes to the nations, but every day you go. And, and so when we started to do it, it was actually even in I think we talked about it for months, but then it was only, I think, the beginning of last month when we just sat down one day and said, well, let's see what it looks like. And we started to put it together, and it actually came together pretty quickly, because, sometimes we can pull from our notes from those years. We can pull from those. And like I said, I mean, there's no part of it that you can't, like I said, we could add video, we could add pictures, we can, because it's, like I said, the last 9 years has been the journey. But, but part of us talking about discipleship and all of it, it is part of it's part of the fiber of everything that we do. We always say we disciple into relationship, father into ministry, because we want to see people equipped, train, send, and release. And we're always saying, I know my spiritual grandfather used to say this. I think even John Wimber used to say, but the idea is that we're supposed to be building an army, not an audience. And so everything that we do is about equipping, training, and going. And so when Lee came up with the vision for this, which I really love, is because it actually stretched me, because we both know that we've been called to write some things down. I always have others saying, you have all these things that you share, and do you write them down? Do you do that? I'm like, no. But so in doing this, though, it has not only been a lot of fun, but it's actually, you realize that when we were doing it together, it seemed to work. It was just a time. So we're pretty excited about what God's doing there, and how it goes. A lot of the people that have been through the themes, like I say, when you see the theme and you see what it does, then you'll recognize that, again, it's every one of them was about developing your character. And we always say, I grew up hearing relationship, ask God, and so every part of that, hearing the voice of God, the things that we've taught, the things that we've learned have helped shape this ebook. So we're excited to see it roll out. So I'm sure, yeah, Leo will give you some opportunities. I think he's got some plans on how we'll launch it and how you'll be able to get a copy. And then, once we get that, we haven't even, once we're done with it, then we'll have to get one of our team in Rwanda to translate it into Kinyarwanda, you know. But we're excited for it. So.
And again, we do have a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for, and I'll post a link to that in the chat as well. And then we also have a new website rolling out by the end of this month. So we're excited for that as well. So we're kind of preparing ourselves to grow, and then also just to make things more efficient for us and for you guys to access our information, and then also our new donation platform that we switch over, which was Give Better. They've been great. And so if you do want to donate or even become a monthly partner with us, the link is in the chat as well. For our monthly partnership program, it is called The Blaze. And so we do want to talk about a little bit of that, because that program and those partners fuel us to keep going. And so we're excited about that group of people who come alongside us and, sees what we're doing and wants to sow into that. And we encourage you to, even just if it's $5 a month, anything helps. And so we're excited to see that grow. It actually was birthed out of one of the prophecies that we believe that is from God, that revival is going to come out of the heart of Africa, and it'll spread from Cape Town to Cairo. And so we just kind of ran with that, and that we are going to set Africa on fire for Jesus. And so, and we started in Rwanda. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is, a lot of, so much of what we do, we used to say, because you so we're able to go. And, that's part of it. And I remember somebody asked me one time, because we've had sometimes people give large donations. And in this last trip, even we had, I think it was the miracle that we needed, like when we were on the trip and you sent out we needed $500 and in a day, or we needed 1,000 and we got 1,500 in one day. And everybody, especially I don't know if you realize the faith that does to the team and especially our team in Rwanda when something like that happens. But I remember one time when we were doing the adoptive families, or we were doing the YSC, and a lot of times we used to do in the beginning, we would try to get people to donate, $25 or $5 for a meal for kids. Remember, because when you're reading at that time, we were trying to feed 100 kids every day for 5 days. That's $500 a day. So we were trying to raise the money, and so we were telling people $5, whatever it takes. And I remember one time, was one of my favorite things. I loved sending out the letter to her. I wrote a personal letter because it was a lady that donated $5. But she sent it with the thing saying, I'm so sorry I couldn't do more, but I wanted to do something. So I wanted to make sure I could feed one person. It blessed me so much because most people would go, I only have 5, so I'm not going to send it. But you don't realize that, again, if 100 people sent 5, if it's all you have, it makes such a difference, because we know that, $5 American, feeds them. And sometimes if we make the meals and we do that, we can take that 5 and feed 2, because sometimes we have somebody has a catering business or whatever, and they make the meals, they do that. We've done that, we make it work. And so for those people that, if you just say, I can so $10 monthly, you'd be surprised at how much that does. Because at the end of the year, that's $120, where you might not have $120 to send at one time. But if you set it up to send $10 monthly or whatever that is, it makes a difference. And like I said, we don't, that's, other than whatever fee that comes out of for, one of the, whether it's PayPal or GiveButt or whatever, they take a small percentage, but we don't have anybody on the other end that takes a fee out of everything. So everything we do goes to boots on the ground. If it's for Adopt a Family, it goes to that project, every part of it, to getting in there, to transporting it, to do everything. It sows into that. So when you give monthly, it makes a difference. The prayer partners, I can't say enough for the people that pray for us, and we keep, that's one of the things that I've always prayed for, that we would have those intercessors and those people that just pray, and they're praying for us, for the ministry, for those things, because I believe that makes all the difference in the world. We're gonna, so we're praying, so when these new programs and the way that Lee's been doing the website and the newsletter and all that, and seeing people engaged, and then getting the feedback from the newsletters and all, it's really been a blessing. The other thing, I don't think we mention it, but it is, but if there are times, if you're listening and you're on here and you're thinking, Mike, if you'd like to go to Rwanda sometime, or go on a trip or do something like that, or if you have a family member or somebody that wants to go on a mission, we love to do that, to have somebody come be part of one of our mission trips and see what God is doing. Sometimes that makes a difference. We've had people that have come, and most of them that have come, we know some that are now, they serve with YWAM, they do that, they're missionaries themselves, they do that, but they're always blessed by the time. So that's another opportunity as well, is you can sow into a trip, but you can also, if it's something you'd like to do, we'd love to have you. We have teams that we have sometimes, like this last year we went into Uganda. We want to do some small trips, that we have a team going into Kenya, that's from Uganda. They're talking to us about asking, hey, can we get some help? It's a group from Africa Renewal, the college there near Kampala, and one of our spiritual families there. And so she was, the team's going into Kenya. But those are other things that we're doing. But we really appreciate those that partner with us in prayer for all the things we do. We can't say enough about how much we appreciate, what you do. That sometimes that's the seen and the unseen, but we appreciate your prayers and your support.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So I think we're going to wrap it up here. We've been on here for just about an hour now. But hopefully this was a good session for, get to know us a little bit more, and what is currently catching up, what is currently going on, and what we are doing, and how you can partner with us and moving forward, and all the things that are coming down the pipeline in the future as well. Any last words, Steve? Or
well, like you said, some people, I assume they can, if they have questions or that, they can, they can either, obviously you can message us on Facebook or whatever. I think they could, if they were live, they could ask them. We're always open for that. And then I was going to say, the other thing is, what I love is, if you're following the newsletter and all that, each month it's trying to highlight one of our leaders, one of our team, as you go through. And so you're getting to know a little bit of the Sent Ones team. And you might notice a picture of most of our committee or the team. Most of them have been with us since we started. They've just, that's the vision. And what I don't know if it says is, when you're looking at these youth, or when you're listening to them, I think it's over 25 churches that all of our youth go to. So there's a lot of churches that we partner with, or that are part of our discipleship groups. So you're getting to hear a little bit from each leader, a little bit about them, and then, but if you have questions or anything, please let us know. Or if there's something you'd like us to know, or like us to share with you, or if there's that, again, let us know, and we'll answer those questions or whatever. Or if there's a topic you'd like Lee and I to come on. This is new. This here. The only thing we didn't mention is he did say, we're practicing this format because one, we've got the pastors and leaders of the Brook Apostolic Network have been asking Lee and I. They met with us twice now, just talking about, hey, can you find a way that we can do something like this, where we can encourage those pastors and leaders, whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, something to equip them to share something they can share, and then they can get together weekly and share. And so Lee and I are working on that to launch that out as well. And then, we're hopefully trying to figure this platform out so that we can relaunch our some kind of a podcast. And so we're excited. We'll be rolling something out that this is just our test. We wanted to see how we can do this and find ways, because if we can talk like this, then again, some of you can also, we can host some people and come on and get some live questions. And I think that would be fun as well. So I think that's it for me. I'm excited to set it. I love doing the one-on-one and be able to talk to us, although it would be nice once we can get some people talking to us, then we get an idea of who's listening and, and how it went. But it was fun sharing with everybody today anyway.
All right. So if you do have any questions, you could email us. Again, I'll show that at info@someone'sim.org, or visit our website, which is going to be launching here shortly. But with that, we'll call it a wrap. We want to thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and follow us on all of our platforms. And we'll see you shortly in the future.
And look for the new newsletter. It should be coming out any day now.
Yes.
All right.